Hello, fifth grade. If you are watching this video, then you might just need a little bit of a refresher on subjects and predicates and finding them within a sentence and understanding the difference between a complete subject and a complete predicate. So we're going to go through these things with you. I'm going to give you some practice problems. We're going to talk about some together. You'll have some that you can work on your own, just to help you feel really prepared and really confident as we go. Okay, let's get started. So we've talked about kind of 4 things throughout 5th grade so far. So we've talked about the subject, and you might have seen it written as like the complete subject. So the complete subject is the who or the what of the sentence, okay? I like to think of this as, you know how you have subjects in school, you have math and you have reading and you have, history and whatever. Those are things, right? And that's what this sentence is about. You can talk about what homework you had, what things you did in that class. That would be the subject of it. It's the who or the what of the sentence, okay? 99.9% of the time, this is a noun or a pronoun. If we're talking about the complete subject, it's the noun and the pronoun and then everything that describes it, okay? So, we might say, like, I'll give you an example. If we said the baseball player ran 3 bases, I don't know, making up a sentence. If we think about the who or the what of the sentence, the baseball player ran 3 sentences. Well, the who or the what of the sentence is the baseball player. Are you with me so far? That would be our complete subject, right? That's what the sentence is about. The rest of it is going to tell me what happened with them. Okay, the simple subject, if they ask you to find that, it's just the noun. So if we look at this, we have a lot of descriptive words, but we want to think about which one is just the noun. Now, if we look at this, the baseball player, the subject of the sentence, ran 3 bases, is not baseball, right? We're not talking about the game. We're not talking about a physical ball. We're talking about this player and what he did, right? So baseball actually describes player. Does that make sense? We're not talking about a football player. We're talking about a soccer player. We're talking about a baseball player. Our simple subject would just be the noun, and that would be player. Okay? When we think about predicates, these are things that describe the action of the sentence. Okay? It's usually the verb, then everything that describes it, give details, all of that. If we're trying to find the simple predicate, we're looking for just the verb. Okay, let's come back to this example that we started earlier. The baseball player ran 3 bases. So we know that this is our complete subject, the baseball player. The simple subject is just player. Ran 3 bases. So if we think about it, that's all the things that's describing what this player did. But what is the one verb, right? The one verb is ran. 3 bases. So usually the simple subject and the simple predicates are usually beside each other, okay? In this case, it rang true, player and ran. Doesn't happen all the time, but I would say 98% of the time it happens, okay? So this was a worksheet you either downloaded from your teacher or you had it sent home in your doc folder. But let's go through these. I'm going to do 7 with you, and then I have the other ones. So at that point, I'll ask you to just pause the video, work on those, and then we can go from there. Okay, so our directions say to draw a line between the complete subject and the complete predicate of the sentence, underline the simple subject once, and underline the simple predicate twice. So if we look at this first sentence, Mr. Dennison coaches our soccer team. So we first want to figure out the who or the what of the sentence. In this case, it's Mr. Dennison. Then I want to just double check myself. Coaches our soccer team. That's giving us the action or describing what he does, right? So there is where my line is going to go. I've got subject and I've got predicate. Okay, so I want to underline the simple subject once. In this case, it's really simple. It's just Mr. Dennison. That's his name. That's who he is. And then we want to underline the simple predicate twice. Now remember, the simple predicate is usually the verb, right? And we know that the simple subject is usually the noun. Okay? So in this case, coaches our soccer team. Coaches is the verb, so that's the one we would select. Okay, the next one. The cows stared at the passing train. The cows stared at the passing train. Okay, so the who or the what of the sentence is the cows stared at the passing train. I think I'm still good to put my divide there. So the cows, the one noun, the one important word is going to be cows. And stared at the passing train. That's telling me what they did, but the verb, the action, is that they stared. Okay? Number 3, the old clock struck 12. Old clock struck 12. Okay, so drawing my line, the old clock is the who or the what of the sentence, and then this is describing what it did. The old clock. Which one of those is the noun? Sorry, I have something stuck in my throat. The old clock. The noun is clock, right? Old describes the clock. Struck 12. Struck is our verb, so that's the simple predicate. Okay? Heavy traffic clogs that tunnel most mornings. Okay, so what is the who or the what of the sentence? Well, it's talking about how this heavy traffic stops or clogs this tunnel most mornings. So that's where I know I want to draw my line. Heavy traffic. So traffic is my simple subject because heavy just describes what kind of traffic it is. It's not light traffic, it's not medium traffic, it's heavy traffic. Clogs that tunnel most morning. Clogs is our simple predicate because it's the verb, and then all of this describes what gets clogged. These sweet peppers grew in my garden. These sweet peppers grew in my garden. Okay, so think about that. Where would the subject be? The subject is all about the peppers, and then the predicate is what they did. So again, my simple subject is just going to be peppers. Sweet is going to describe what kind of peppers they are. They're not jalapeno peppers. They're not super spicy peppers. They're sweet peppers. Grew in my garden. And grew is going to be my simple predicate because it's the verb. So far, so good. Okay, let's look at number 6. Sweet smells filled the bakery. Okay, so this is talking, the who or the what of the sentence is talking about these sweet smells and how they filled the bakery. So I'm going to draw my line right here. Smells is going to be my simple subject because sweet describes what kind of smell they are. And filled the bakery. Filled is going to be my simple predicate because it's the verb and it's going to tell me the action of what the smells did, right? The smells filled. All right, and last one, I'm going to let you do some on your own. Your older sister dropped the vase. Okay, so the who or the what of the sentence, the subject is about your older sister and how she dropped the vase. So sister is going to be the simple subject because it's just the person in the story. That's the human, the noun. Your and older both describe the sister. It's not Susie's sister, it's not your younger sister, it's your older sister. Those both describe it. And then what did she do? She dropped the vase. Okay, so this point, pause the video. I want you to work on the rest of the worksheet on your own, and then unpause the video and you can check your answers, okay? So these are questions 8 through 15. Did you get them correct? If you didn't, maybe ask your home teacher to help you point out why some are correct and some are incorrect. Okay, if you have any other questions, reach out to your home teacher. We've got one more thing I want to cover today in our little unit. So we've been talking about these subjects and predicates, right? The who and then the action of the sentence. When we are answering questions, maybe these questions are in science or in history, or gosh, maybe they're something in reading. You will oftentimes have the question written, and when we want you to answer the question, we don't want you to just write anything that you have down, right? Because that doesn't really help us. So if the question said, why did the chicken cross the road? What you don't want to write is, he did. Okay, if I didn't have this question and I was just looking at this answer, first of all, I'm locking a capital letter, right? But who is he? Are we talking about King Louis IV? Are we talking about Mr. Phelps? Are we talking about something, okay? So you have to be really specific in that as you go. When you think about the important parts of this sentence, it's almost like you want to pick out the subject and predicate within the question to then restate in your answer. Okay, so not good. Why did the chicken cross the road? So the important things, like the chicken is the subject, right? And cross the road is important. So I definitely want to make sure that my simple subject, chicken, right, which is the noun, is in my answer, and cross, which is the verb, is also in my answer, okay? It's okay to also give details, again, so that the reader can see it. Okay, so if I were to get this question, why did the chicken cross the road? I might turn around my answer to say, the chicken crossed the road. See how I just really copied it? And then I'm gonna give my answer, to get to the other side, ha ha. Okay, let's say we had another question. How many cups of coffee did Mrs. Phelps have today? Okay, so let's do a couple of things. In this case, there are several nouns in this sentence, right? That we want to make sure that we might use in our answer, right? We've got coffee, that's important. We have Mrs. Phelps, that's important. And then this question is also asking how many, right? So that's telling me typically I have a number. So I want to make sure that gets in my answer as well. Okay, so an example for this one might say, Mrs. Phelps had 3, right, whatever your number is, cups of coffee today. Okay, so you can either copy it and then add your answer, or you can restate your question and add your answer in. Does that make sense so far? So the goal is to really make sure that you're not losing any points when you're answering questions for something that could be a little easier, okay? Reach out to your home teacher or your at-school teacher if you still have any questions, but I hope this clarified and gave you some practice and helped you feel more confident about this. See you later, 5th grade.